the first thing that has to happen is a halt put on any further distribution of those funds and have it now to truly manage us and pay our costs, say, for the next 2 years while we restructure, rebudget, rework what we need to take our industry forward. As of the 30th of June 2009, there's $38 million in that levy. And I hate to think what we're going to see when the budget comes out this year. Okay, some other costs since the Heilbron report. You've been hit with NLIS. Who knows how much that's costing, because there are so many unmeasurables or immeasurables in this instance. It's a failure. What can I say? It is a failure, as we've heard from other people in the industry in other aspects of it. Our customers never asked for it. Our industry representatives lumped it on us. It was unnecessary. So that is a huge cost burden that the MLA have put onto us. Plus they've increased our levies by over 40% with the additional $1.50. And for these increases, let me give you the 3 main accomplishments of our industry body in the last 12 to 18 months. Number 1, the BSE fiasco. The Senate hearing, from everything that I have read, have placed the instigation for the changes of that legislation squarely at Cattle Council and the other industry representatives. So it's not that they have supported the changes to that legislation, rather they went and instigated it. And I stood there, I sat at Armidale, and it was an issue that did take over the Armidale Forum because of the implicit, the fact that that was going to come in the next month or so. And so that had so many irate producers there. And I can tell you, the MLA, the Cattle Council, they copped a barrelling from those frustrated producers, and the chap that was there from the Cattle Council had the nerve to stand up and tell the producers at that forum he had the support of his 20,000 producer members. Any of you here, any of that 20,000 here today, do you want to put up your hands and show us where you are? Because there wasn't one of them down at Armidale either. So that's step 1. And I can tell you something. There were 3 people only who spoke down at that Senate inquiry against these changes to the legislation. And 2 of them were ABA members. It was Brad Bellinger and John Carter. And I can tell you, I don't think they have got enough credit for bringing this out into the public arena. And I will tell you the other person that was instrumental with Brad and John Carter in getting the changes, and it was Alan Jones. And Alan Jones got the message out to the housewives and the voters in Sydney, and within less than 2 weeks of the forum in Armidale, Tony Burke had done a backflip on the decision. That is a clear message to take away from here. It is the power of the media that is going to get the changes for us. So keep that in mind. The second accomplishment that our industry bodies has done is AMIC. That's another processor representative. And AMIC negotiated with the Department of Education on passing on the additional AQUIS costs. Now, that equates to a 66% increase on what we're currently paying now on our AQUIS. And as Barnaby said, it was the National Party senators who blocked that coming in for, I think it was October last year, that increase was meant to be passed on. However, that's only been a very temporary reprieve. And as of the 1st of July next year, that increase comes in. And I can tell you, we can't carry that cost. Keep this in mind. We have just in the last month seen a Prime Minister overthrown. And I'll tell you very simply the message I see. He was going to impose a 40% tax on the profits of the mining industry. I'd love to see a profit. We're being hit with a 66% increase on our costs, and our industry bodies are passing that on and have approved it for us. The third achievement is the complete railroading of our potential truth in labelling beef grading legislation. One of the biggest problems that we have in our industry is the reduction in consumption of beef in Australia. As one of the speakers said earlier, it is, I think, 8 kilos down in a period of time. We had ARMAC to thank for that. ARMAC had a representative doing negotiations on behalf of the industry bodies with New South Wales government to reach compromise. The ARMAC representative is Terry Nolan. Now, beginning of this year, there was an article in the paper, in Rural Press, how good, oh my God, I've got 2 hours more work. We had, well, now I forget completely where I'm up to. No. Terry Nolan, in 1996, went on the steering committee for MSA, and he did that, as he was quoted in the Queensland Country Life, as a response to the decline in beef consumption. Since then, there has been an increase of a decrease in excess of 23%. Over $100 million has been spent on MSA. MSA has 18 grades down to cow beef that's sold on the market. The new beef grading that he is pushing is changing the word budget to economy, and all surveys have shown that consumers believe economy will eat better and is better quality and better value for money than budget. So in effect, we're going to be able to sell more cow beef to the consumer. In January this year also, in the Feedback magazine, we've got Terry Nolan saying what a godsend MSA has been to our industry. I'd say the only people that have been the beneficiaries of it are those that have received the $100 million. So, I have got so much. We'll cut it. Okay, we've got to come up with a plan. We have the ARMAC have got for us a meat industry strategy plan from 2010 through to 2015. This is just the summary of it. It is a document this thick. Get on the website, the ARMAC website, you can read it. Very simply, here's what their strategy is for the next 5 years. Number one's ethics and environment, to promote ethical and responsible custodianship of the environment. Market access, maximising partnership with government, effective trade facilitation. Our industry, promote single coordinated voice and reinvigorate relationships with government and industry. Our people, as number 4, develop and retain motivated and appropriately skilled people. Number 5 is innovation, increase competitiveness and profitability through innovation. Number 6, marketing and promotion, focus on the consumer to continue to achieve profitable growth in demand for Australian red meat and livestock. And number 7, economics and infrastructure. So, the problem with this, as I see it, it's actually wishy-washy. There's nothing clearly defined. It's very hard to measure whether those targets have been achieved. The other problem with it is the budget. MLA, in conjunction with RMAC, also have a meat industry strategy plan for 2010 to 2015, and that's up here. And on the first or second page of it, the most important thing to get better returns is, God, we've got to hope the dollar drops. The MLA budget for the first year, and it's not the full budget. This is a